Hello again, this is me Abir, and in this video I will talk about the theory of liminality, its meaning, definition, and the main principles it stipulates. Actually, liminality is the theory which was created by Arnold van Gogh, and it's also called liminality. In 1902, Arnold didn't just give a meaning to this concept, but alone he explained the theory behind it. This theory stands on the base that any process of changing and transforming from one state to another goes through certain stages. Separation is the first level, in which the entity must lose its place in which it would hold. The next step is liminality, which means being limited to oneself, whereas the final step is the union, meaning rising to the next level and evolve to the next self. The main focus is the second stage, liminal phase, in which the individual acquires the experience of becoming completely obscure and detached from reality. According to Arnold, the liminal person cannot be found in one place, but he holds the passion of the betweenness, vanish from both the old place which he was holding and the next place that he has not reached yet. A liminal phase, in its essence and function, is a transitional, dynamic, intermediate condition, a place between hardened and transformed structure. So in order to provide a better understanding and detailed information about this theory, it will be applied on a very classical literary text, which is the novel of A Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, to stress the importance of identity from liminalism theory perception. In fact, A Great Expectation is a story of limitation, where characters seem to be unable to escape their liminal space, and even if they were able to escape it physically, they were still embracing psychologically. The first type of liminal identity in A Great Expectation is the rejection and acquiring a new identity, the mimetic identity which can be flowing in big characters. Actually, the story introduced Bib's first physical identity as a small and weak little boy. He was a child living in constant fear and sorry for himself and others, even for those bad people. His childhood represents the innocent and the pure part of his character, and as a child, his gender identity was limited only to the good boy, since he didn't steal nor lie to anyone. When Bib met his first love, Sheila, he had recognized the limitation of his identity. He was not just the orphan boy, he was also the poor boy. The social class in England is one of the key elements highlighted in the story, and it causes both identity and gender limitation. As a young man, Bib should not be innocent or free. He should be more like a man to their standard of what a real man should be. At the same time, he should not love or care for Sheila, since they are not in the same liminal social class. Here, Bib's struggle to the firm structure of his identity is the result of the fast contextual significance for the root rejection which he received. Thus, when Bib started his quest for a higher and noble existence, was for the purpose of altering his reality and identity to seem fit for Sheila and her high social demands. Such rejection had empowered Bib to reject his former self, and he started his mission in launching an unrealistic vision of a new identity and a new man, only to disassociate his personality and his roots further away. When Bib received the unexpected gift which helped him to move far away from his small countryside to the vast civilized London, where he attended a school and studied at the best universities, here Pip was able to create a new identity for him, completely different from his former self. But Dickens, as mentioned, is the master of limitation. In London, he found a new inner and outer identity for him. By imitating the upper class, he became a mimetic individual. Such example, when Pip's best friend Joe go to visit him in London, Pip tried to keep his new identity by changing the way to talk to Joe, as they knew him, not the old one. You and me is not two figures to be together in London. I'm ruined in these clothes. I'm run out of the forge, the kitchen, or of the meshes. You'll not find half so much fault in me if you think of me in my forge dress, with my hammer in my hand, or even in my bed. Hearing this excerpt, the method in which Joe expressed himself to his best friend Pip displays the difference between the two different worlds and personalities. Joe understands his realities, and for that he accepts. Yet, Pip rejects who he is and desires to change it. Pip tried to mimic the same lifestyle of Miss Havisham and Isilla, as they represent the level in which he desires to be. At the same time, he rejects Joe and his sister, as they represent the person that he tried to forget or deny. His journey for the new self started when he was invited to Miss Havisham's house. This invitation was not just limited to the location, but also for a new identity. Hence, Pip starts his inner and physical transformation as he allows the reality of his social and individual identity. When Pip discovered the truth about the identity of his sponsor, which was the convent who helped young Pip, his new identity is being shattered in line with it. The dream of climbing the social ladder which he had built for himself has collapsed with his new found self. From the name of the story, the matter of escaping one's identity is just a simple expectation, not reality. Pip's search for individuality and selfhood was ended, since he rejects to learn that being a gentleman is an internal change rather than the external imagery of self. Thus, Pip attempts to destroy his old liminal identity as an often uneducated son of a blacksmith and countryside boy to create a new identity, which is the upper-class gentleman, was not easy or successful because he was rejected by his former identity and was not accepted as an upper-class Englishman. Hence, this created the identity confusion for belonging. Finally, the reason for choosing the image of a statue and not symbol image, which is the notion of liminalism, since the meaning of liminal space is being trapped and imprisoned in one role and one space, the statue represents the perfect metaphor for liminality.